What's up, YouTube? It's Lucifer Lakeborn coming back at you with a bit of a different video. You may notice I'm sporting a little bit of jewelry here. This is my normal, traditional Baphomet necklace. As people may or may not know, I'm a Satanist. I just watched the commercial for the Satanic Temple's new movie coming out, Hail Satan. Which is actually a documentary chronicling the basically the rise of the Satanic Temple. Now, before I go any further, I am not a member of the Satanic Temple. It is free to join, and the reason why I'm not a member of Satanic Temple is I don't feel that they are as much of a religious group as they are of a political movement group that uses Satanism as a shock factor, and whatnot. Now, that's not to say that there aren't real Satanists in it. I'm pretty sure that 90% of the members are genuine Satanists. Some will be doing rituals on their own, others would not be. But this is a political movement for the most part. I am familiar with the founders of this organization. We don't know each other personally, but I am familiar with them from years ago, and whatnot. And I know that the one founder, he was getting a lot of flack years and years and years ago because of how he would approach things. And things in the Satanic Temple seem to have changed very vastly since he was a member of it, since he was actually there. I'm not saying his name for very good reasons and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm just clicking around. I'm on the Satanic Temple's Facebook page. I was just on Hail Satan's Facebook page. One thing I do really, really love about Satanic Temple is their inclusiveness to children. They have some really, really awesome kids stuff, like After School Satan and whatnot, which counteracts. It's a counterbalance to the Good News Club, which is definitely not good news. It's a very logical, atheistic approach to after school learning. And I think it's a really, really cool thing. I think it's something that more schools should have, even if it's not satanic based, okay? I feel that more schools should have atheistic clubs that come in and give kids a reasonable look at the whole situation with religion and whatnot, and can let these kids make up their own mind on what path they want to take as they get older. And that's how, in my opinion, religion should be. No kid should have religion forced on them. Obviously, if you're growing up in a household where a specific religion is the main theme there, then you're going to naturally growing up with those notions and ideas in your head. And just kind of naturally develop into that. This is mostly very common with many Christian households, and the kids grow up usually just fine. They're just, they stick in that religion. Not always. Some of them rebel and they go elsewhere. Take me for example. I grew up in a very unusual household. I kind of had two contradicting forces pulling me, but I was always raised to believe in God by both sides. My dad, he was very pragmatic minded. It's not that he didn't believe in God, it's just that wasn't his main motivating force. Science was. Would he be considered an atheist? I think in a lot of circles, yeah, he would have been. My mother was Southern Baptist. I was raised mostly Southern Baptist. At one point, I had an accident, which gave me scars right here. They used to run from up here down to like here when I was little. Um, that was from a Great Dane. And I was DOA for 20 minutes, which scared the hell out of me because of what I saw, and I wanted to prove it wrong, and I became an uber Christian. I mean, I could quote you the Bible forwards and backwards. And eventually, in my attempt to prove it wrong, I proved it right, and really made myself start questioning my own faith and start exploring other religions. And inevitably, I got to Wicca. I apprenticed in Wicca for 3 years, and then I was a Wiccan for another 10 years or so. During my final few years of apprenticeship to Wicca, I had an encounter with Satanists from Church Satan, which was actually a very good encounter. It was a very positive encounter. So in that time, later on, I was able to find the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey and read it, and found that I had always been living my life as a Satanist, even when I was a Wiccan, and all I had to do was just take on a mantle. And I weighed it very heavily. I reread the book a couple times, and I decided that's what I was going to do. And that's how I became a Satanist. And I've been a Satanist ever since, and I have never looked back. I've never had any questions of faith. I've never had any regrets. I've only felt that myself, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, have just grown and blossomed even further as a Satanist. Will I stay a Satanist for the rest of my life? At this point, I think I will. I have been a Satanist for over 10 years now. I became a Satanist, actively became a Satanist, I want to say about 2007, 2008. And that's when I actually looked back into it. And so, it's 2019 now. I've been a Satanist well over a decade. And usually what happened before was at about 10 years or so, maybe even less, I would start questioning my faith and start looking into other things. And I did that again this time, but what happened was I ended up, just reaffirming myself in what I am. And I wasn't really even looking outside of the Satanic religion. I was looking in some of the different denominations of Satanism. Believe it or not, there is multiple denominations. We usually break it down as either atheistic or theistic, but inside those two brackets, there's usually a couple different denominations of Satanists. And I don't really fall into any major particular denomination. I'm sort of weirdly in the middle, where I follow mostly Anton LaVey's style of Satanism, but I am theistic about it. Like I said, I'm sort of weirdly in the middle because a lot of the LaVeyans nowadays are very atheistic, and that's fine. That's cool. I'm not a member of the Church of Satan. I really don't agree with a lot of their policies. I don't agree with a lot of what they do, especially the brown nosing to Peter Gilmore. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with what they say that they are the only true satanic organization out there. It's clear that they're not. We have Satanic Temple, which, as I said, they are definitely Satanists, but they are more of a political movement than they are a religious movement. So that's why I don't really associate with them. We have Temple of Set. We have a bunch of others that have popped up and disappeared over the years and whatnot. And I'm not really a member of any of them. I'm my own individual. I've tried to a couple times start up my own little small group, and this past time I had some good success with it, but it didn't last very long. And that's fine. That's fine. You got to explore. You got to do whatever. But going back to what I was talking about before, because I've wasted so much time here. Watching Satanic Temple's commercial for their new film, it looks very interesting. For those of you who don't know who Satanic Temple are, they are a political religious group that is a Satanist based group and follows Satanism and satanic rites and whatnot. Um, Pushes for education in schools. Just really cool coloring books out. I mean, and when I say cool, I don't mean that they're horrible and graphic. I mean they're actually really nice. They're pretty kid friendly, um, and whatnot, but obviously geared towards Satanism. So they help parents who want to raise their children as Satanists, to raise them up as Satanists and to provide them with materials and outlets for that, which is really really cool. Um, so yeah, um, I'm trying to think of words here. uh, but So they made this documentary featuring their rise from the beginning, up to now, I guess. And the if you watched the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and you got familiar with the lawsuit that the producers went through, it was because if you watched the show, in the show, in the the school of the hidden arts or dark arts or whatnot, in the very center of the school is this huge big statue of Baphomet with two kids next to it. And the producers tried to lie that they didn't know that that was from Satanic Temple or whatnot, that they didn't take it from Satanic Temple, that they made it custom for the movie or for the show. Um, it it was a lot. Satanic Temple has this statue for real, and when you compare the two, they're identical, except difference in size. The one for the show was huge. The one in real life is actually just about the size of a chair that you can actually sit on the lap of Baphomet. So, and there's just a couple minor differences. But aside from that, the little boy and the little girl are almost identical. They're in the exact spots. The Baphomet is identical, um, and whatnot. So it was pretty blatant that the show took Satanic Temple's copyrighted statue, and they sued the show, which they had every right to do. Um, Fortunately, an agreement got made where we're not going to lose the show over their own stupidity, and we're still going to get it um, a second season, hopefully, which I'm looking very much forward to. I love the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. It is a great tongue-in-cheek representation of Satanism. And when I say tongue-in-cheek, I mean obviously in the show the Satanists are evil cannibals and whatnot. Um, in real life, we're not like that at all, but we're always willing to accept and take on the appearance of dark and evil, with a tongue-in-cheek value and whatnot. And the show was a really great representation of that in that sense, in that tongue-in-cheek sense. And I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows right now. So go over to Netflix and check out The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina if you have not done so yet. Um, and So that would be really cool. Um, and Satanic Temple, they're a great political movement. If a person finds themselves in a little bit of hot water involving their religion for no good reason, they're probably a very good avenue to turn to for help, for legal help, for political help, or whatnot. where, you know, they can get some backup in a courtroom if they absolutely need to, or at least get references from them for people who can help. It's just like any other political movement. It's, well, not movement. It's just like any other representative movement, such as, you know, any racial or other religious representation movements that take it in a political fashion. Cool thing about Satanic Temple is they never hurt anybody. They never cause riots. They never cause problems. They don't go out and harass people. They're very, very peaceful. And I think that they are a great public face for Satanism right now. Um, so, yeah. Go ahead, check them out. They're really cool. I would say I'm looking forward to checking out the Hail Satan movie for one reason or another. Apparently, it's hitting select theaters. I think April 19th, it said. I can't remember. Let me reopen my computer here and get back to it. Um, Alright. If I am correct here, Hail Satan, it seemed I'm on their Facebook page, and it says, it says, watch the official trailer for Hail Satan in select theaters April 19th. So if you're interested in this movie, in this documentary, keep your eyes peeled for it. Go to their Facebook page and check them out. And it looks really interesting. There's been a few documentaries about Satanism over the years, and I plan on doing some videos about Satanism, going more in depth about certain things involving Satanism, especially the ritual aspect, and trying to show off some rituals that have never been seen publicly before. If you're interested in seeing that, shoot on over to my Patreon page. I'm going to throw a link for it down in the description below, as well as a link to the commercial for the Hail Satan documentary. And tell me what you think in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Give me a thumbs down if you don't, and go away. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. It always helps me out, and hit that bell notification. That way you know whenever I'm putting up another video. This is Lucifer Legaborden, and I am out of here.